Mr. President of the University of St. Gallen, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warmly welcome also from the Federal Council of Switzerland, a warmly welcome to Switzerland, warmer than the outside temperatures. I'm very glad about the governing of this Leaders Symposium this year on sustainability, and therefore I would like to thank the university and the students that they've chosen sustainability and brought such distinguished guests here together in St. Gallen. It's a crucial and a very important time for this meeting. We are 3 years after the Rio +20 conference, when we decided that we would like to go towards sustainable development goals, and we hope that this year we can decide on SDGs. It's also the year where we'll have in Paris the conference on a new climate convention, which is part of the overall view and which is very important towards a sustainable world. So we in politics, we need a lot of support, because only talking about sustainability, talking about climate change does not make a change at all. And therefore I'm very glad that we can also exchange difficulties on implementation, but also the different recipes for many parts of the world who will play a crucial role. We all know that sustainability is more than a pious hope. It's an absolute must in the world of today, because everything we live today, we have to pay to there in the coming years. Therefore, we are not allowed to use sustainability in an inflationary way. We need to go beyond nice communication strategies. The Leadership Symposium has been organized by students of the university, most of them in their mid-20s. Since their birth, we have achieved a lot to improve human well-being. We have, for example, increased the literacy rate in all world regions, protected the ozone layer through the Montreal Protocol, or increased the Human Development Index in almost all countries. However, there are still 1.2 billion people that have to live from less than $1.25 per day, and more than 2 billion that suffer from malnutrition. The world population uses the natural resources as we would have 1.5 Earths available. Switzerland is not a good example. We even use more than 2.8 Earths. Last year, the World Overshoot Day was on August 19th. Thus, within less than 8 months, we used the capacity of the global resources of a whole year. Another fact is that natural disasters are occurring nearly 5 times as often as they were in the 1970s, and they destroy many of our infrastructure and other development achievements. We have subsidies in fossil energy which amount to $504 billion a year. Is this well positioned? Or would it also be the right moment with deep oil and petrol prices to phase out these subsidies towards more renewable, sustainable energies? We have the cost of air pollution. The health impact of road transport in OECD countries amounted last year to costs on humanity. 3.5 million people are killed per year globally by outdoor air pollution, mainly from road transport, but also from our heating systems. All these costs are costs of citizens, and we also have to think how we can shape the agenda that these costs, these subsidies, are placed towards a more sustainable world on prevention and on other measures. On the global level, the MDGs focused since 2000 on poverty eradication and addressed some of the aforementioned challenges.
They have been very powerful in order to coordinate the work of different actors, such as multilateral development banks, bilateral development cooperation, or foundations. They have been much more efficient and effective than many attempts of institutional national reforms on national and also on global level to address poverty, eradication, and development. Therefore, despite the fact that not all goals will have been achieved by the end of this year, the MDGs can nevertheless be assessed as effective. However, the experience has shown that many economic and social development achievements are threatened by natural disasters and diminishing natural resources. Therefore, we decided to replace the MDGs not just by a version 0.2, but by Sustainable Development Goals in order to achieve a paradigm shift by introducing universally and integrating the economic, social, and environmental dimension. This shall allow to profit from an interlinked thinking and approach to the current challenges. For example, for every dollar spent on preparedness, you can save $3 to4 after disaster strikes. Another example is global food production that must increase by 60 to 70% by 2050 in order to meet the demands of the growing world population. Yes, more than 1/3 of the food produced today is lost or wasted. The Swiss government actively engages in the current discussions and negotiations to prepare the summit in September this year to adopt the new agenda post-2015 on sustainable development. We consider 5 principles as necessary underlying elements for the new goals framework. First, it's universality. Every country must contribute to the achievement of the global goals. Second, it's planetary boundaries. A healthy environment and resilient ecosystems are a precondition for sustainable development. Third, it's social inclusion and justice, already mentioned before. Only inclusive sustainable development will ensure that no one is left behind. For us, it's also important talking about human rights. A strong reverence is necessary to human rights, including economic, social, and cultural rights, as well as civil and political rights. It's on 5th element, policy coherence. All policy, including on trade, the financial sector, or agriculture, need to be coherent and geared to achieving sustainable development. There is a proposal for goals and targets that were negotiated among all countries and that take into account the contributions from civil society, including business, science, youth, and NGOs. With 17 goals, the proposal is much more extensive than the MDGs. However, this is a product of its process of reconciling a universal agenda for all countries and the interlinked challenges of sustainable development. In addition, it is the product of intergovernmental negotiations, which was not the case for the MDGs at the time. Some efforts will be needed to simplify the goals and targets so that they can be more easily understood and owned by all those that must implement them. A communication strategy seems to be also very important, similar to the Millennium Campaign, that people, our citizens, understand and that we can really change the mindsets, change also the behavior of our citizens. In the upcoming months, until the summit, we need to discuss the implementation of the goals. A crucial part will be the discussion of a new global partnership for sustainable development that is necessary for the implementation and the generation of financial resources. In comparison to the year 2000, we have new actors, such as the emerging economies. In addition, we have representatives like you from civil society, including business, including NGOs. Your participation in this new global partnership and your contribution in the implementation of the SDGs will be necessary and very welcome. Politicians have not an easy situation. We have, in many countries, not enough economic growth to finance and to go towards more sustainable technologies, to implement new renewable energies, and so on. So for them to shift money in the right direction, to have the implementation on national level will be very, very difficult. We had, since 2007, for example, on environmental friendly technologies, discussions on WTO. You could quite easily reduce tariffs, that tech transfer, that these eco-friendly services and products could be integrated in emerging markets in development countries very easily and at lower prices. But so far we had not an agreement what is an eco-friendly product, what is an eco-friendly service. So we discussed for many years, now in the 9th year, and I'm not so sure if we arrived to a conclusion, but these would all little elements towards a more sustainable world and helping countries which have not a very good financial situation moving in this direction. Coming from South Africa, also for them, they have a very difficult situation. It's one of the most energy and carbon-based countries of the world. Coal is the cheapest energy. They have a lot of people which really have no money at all. So how can a government finance renewables with this situation? They will stay for many years as a coal-based country. So it's better to invest in research, that we find technologies, instruments that they can use their coal because it's affordable for many of their people. But we have to look for solutions like carbon capture storage. There are interesting algae water projects that we can reduce CO2. At the same time, we have to look for tech transfer. We have to look at investors dare to implement latest technologies. And this is very important also on multilateral level, that financial instruments, funds are here, that countries who cannot afford have access to these funds, and that together we try to make a shift and integrate all these technologies available today or research which bring us future solutions. The multilateral level is for Switzerland key, because only the multilateral level is really the adequate platform to go towards such funding, go towards global solution, and understand also that we can't afford anymore to make a difference between industrialized countries and development countries. We all are in the same boat. We all are responsible for the globe together, not we finance and they continue. Everybody has to contribute. Next month, we will therefore adopt a new framework for disaster risk reduction at UN level. A UN conference in July will discuss a new Monterrey consensus that focuses on financing for sustainable development. Very important elements on our agenda. Finally, in Paris, as already mentioned, we hope that we will find a new solution on mitigation and adaptation of greenhouse gas emissions, but also here financing will be crucial for many countries. Switzerland is normally on all these rankings on sustainability quite well placed. But also we have to improve. We have, for example, today a recycling rate of 94%, which is worldwide very, very good. But at the same time, our waste per capita is a world record. We have 700 kilos per capita. South Africa has 300. Germany is on 480. So these are all elements everybody can improve. We have about 57% of electricity coming from renewable sources, but our energy mix remains very dominated by fossil energy. In 2000, Switzerland has not only introduced a regulatory tax for CO2 emissions, but also on volatile organic compounds, where the revenue is distributed to the population. Carbon pricing and also these ideas on volatile organic compounds are ideas which we could spread all over the world. These are market mechanisms helping also the industry because they have an incentive to go in the right direction, and it's not a tax, it's not a subsidy, it's a market mechanism. In the Swiss Labour Act, we have several provisions that shall protect the health of workers. That's also part of sustainability. And since more than 10 years, Switzerland takes into account not only economic aspects, but also social and environmental aspects in public procurement. Public procurement, which is a big pot for every country, and here we can steer, we can focus that also this money is well positioned and the criteria are sustainable criteria. In our federal administration, we guarantee sustainability because every law, every little recommendation passes all offices, all services, including environment, justice, finances, economic affairs. So every expert has a look at it, that it gets, as a result, a sustainable one. And the same thing we do also on our budgeting process, because also financing must be sustainable. Despite those achievements, Switzerland will continue, and we will need also to take measures to achieve sustainable development. Investing in sustainability, ladies and gentlemen, provides a return on investment in the form of healthier workers, less natural disasters that destroy infrastructure, economic gains from urban mining, less air pollution for an improved life quality in cities, lower dependency on non-renewable natural resources that come from conflict areas, etc. We all know the pictures from surface mining. They give an impression of a moonscape. We all know the facts about the extensive consumption of resources. We all know the consequences of an unbraked CO2 output. If we really wish to leave a better world for our children, there is no way except the way of sustainability. Therefore, students which don't care about sustainability, they will fail. Sustainability is an investment in thinking, in behavior, and also in economic success. It provides a return on investment that makes economically sense and in the end is necessary for human well-being, for current and future generations. Latin America is a continent with a rich biodiversity. If you don't take care on biodiversity, the human being will not live for another 100,000 years. So to find the balance, to have economic growth, help people have a decent life, we must also protect and preserve biodiversity for our well-being and for future generations. I'm looking forward to continue collaborating with you from business science and youth in order to act together, to find ideas, little steps ahead are steps in the right direction. I thank you very much and hope you will find very good solutions and recipes for us in politics. We need you, we can't do it ourselves. Thank you so much.